As the clock ticks down to the Ondo State gubernatorial election, this day, November 16, 2024, the palpable excitement that typically accompanies an electoral exercise feels really absent. Instead, what looms in the air is a heavy shrouded voter apathy, casting a long shadow over the political landscape.
This is not just a mere statistic as witnessed by observers on ground featured on the news show earlier. It's a significant concern that could reshape the future of governance in Ondo State. Voter apathy is not a new phenomenon, but its intensification in this election cycle raises alarming questions.
Many citizens have expressed disillusionment with the political system, feeling that their votes do not actually count and that change is merely an illusion. Why bother? Echoes the sentiments of frustrated voters who have witnessed cycles of broken promises and unfulfilled aspirations. This is Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue. You're welcome to the evening live session. Joining us later will be Barrister Lucky Ajayi and likewise also Barrister Catherine Ogunjebi. Both are observers on their own various platforms for the Ondo State elections. I'm Ondo AI.
And I'm Babatunde.
Join us in the next session.
Hello, beautiful people. Hi, I'm Babatunde, your host for Vigilant Podcast. Vigilance is derived from the word vigilant, which means to keep a keen eye and sharp mind on situations around you, and that is exactly what we do on Vigilant Podcast.
Ouch! Remind me of how we spill the truth on Vigilant Podcast. Trust us, we don't leave any truth unspilled.
Vigilance is not just a podcast, but it is a medium to discuss everything Nigeria, ranging from politics to economic trends and public opinion.
To listen to us, go to Spotify, click on the search bar and type in Vigilant, and there we are good to go.
Every policy put together, every economic and business decision made by the local, state, and federal government, and even the private sector, can affect how you spend, how you save, and how you invest, and eventually your personal economy. My name is Awe, and I invite you to join me on Market Square every Friday, where I share with you business and economic updates so that you know the implication of what is happening around you and you can plan with regards to your personal economy. Follow Video Media on YouTube and all our social media platforms. I look forward to your company on the show. See you soon.
You're welcome back to the show. The show is Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and embracing dialogue. But we will be embracing dialogue and discovering perspectives within Ondo State. Later on, we will be joined by Barrister Lucky Aiyedatiwa, one of the observers from the Accountable Leadership for Better Nigeria initiative in due time. But first off, we will be going over happenings which has actually been taking place, incident reports.
All right, thank you very much, Odell. While we were doing the morning and afternoon session, we talked about how Ondo State seems to be peaceful, and Lucky Aiyedatiwa also talked about how peaceful it is in Ondo State. But then there has been allegedly that talks backed by PDP caused chaos at some polling center. What can you say about that? Well, do you think that that's true?
Peradventure, it is correct.
Okay.
One would feel or think probably because reports coming from the PDP candidate Agboola Ajayi, he was actually rating the electoral umpire low for their performance. So I want to feel there's a sense of dissatisfaction on the performance of INEC coming from the alleged claims from PDP. That is why they would actually react in the way they will react, using thugs. It's actually been spelled out in the peace accord. If you are not satisfied with the electoral process or the electoral cycle, you seek redress in court. There's no need for violence, because reports making the rounds is that a particular area, boundary between Edo State and Ondo State,
yeah.
Ofosu,
There's a gunshot there.
There's been gunshot shootouts there. So we should be looking at people who are dissatisfied, because if they are not satisfied with the elections, there's no room for violence. Of course, typically people will, in this kind of a period where people are thinking about their stomachs now, they will definitely go indoors and look for how to secure their lives instead of wasting their lives for elections where they already know the outcome at the end of the day.
All right. Do you think Nigeria in entirety can move away from using thugs and vote buying during election?
I will borrow what our guest said earlier on this morning. We have a long way to go when it comes to educating ourselves politically. Why? Because there's a total distinction. Like if you recall back then when we were on the Vigilant podcast, we made mention of the whites, the Democrats and the Republicans being polished in their politics. But we down here in Africa, we're kind of crude. Look at the whole unrest now in various African countries. Mozambique now is protesting now. Violent protests are erupting. Just a few months back, it was Kenya. Just a few months back also, we also had Senegal also. So Nigeria also had its own fair share of protests in August, if we recall, the End Bad Governance protests. So we are still yet to grow or mature democratically, because if we look at some particular countries in the Western region also, we have so many upsets or coups, but Mali, Burkina Faso, a situation whereby the tenets of democracy are not adhered to. That's where you begin to have unrest. So what is actually dictating democracy? Elections. Where elections are mad with violence, votes buying, there won't be any credible or fair elections. People who actually won't want to accept defeats. Pride and ego sets in. Yeah,
you know, earlier we talked about, and I think one of the guests also said something about the fact that, well, INEC are doing their thing, but he wouldn't say they're really doing much when it comes to the welfareism of the adults and their staff. And not only that is that happening right now, there's been reports that the beavers are not working. And also Lucky Aiyedatiwa also talked about how the beavers are slow. Do you think the INEC were not even prepared? Does that mean that the fear of Seyi Makinde and the PDP candidate Agboola Ajayi, does that mean that they are making it more true that, yes, they are not ready and they are probably biased with what they're doing by not being prepared for this election? Because why would you say that the beavers are not working or they're slow? You should have checked all of these things before the day.
Actually, I made mention in the afternoon session about failing to plan.
Yeah.
When you don't plan properly, you've already failed.
Yeah.
Now, a situation whereby you need to make use of your car for a long distance journey. Now, let me use this comparative analysis here. You need to embark on a long distance journey. Before embarking on that journey, you make sure that if it's a manual, you make sure your gear is in check, the handbrake is in check, the clutch is in check. Everything that has to put the car in motion is in check. Then lastly, you're talking about your fuel. You make sure there's fuel for mobility to carry you that particular distance. Now, coming down to INEC now, relating it to this now. When INEC now fails to make sure that their gadgets or apparatus, tools which they are meant to use to make sure that the election is actually, functioning properly, they have actually failed from the very onset. Now, logistic-wise, now looking at the logistics aspect also, how well have all those items been conveyed? Ondo State is not just a landlocked area, it's also a riverine area. How well have you utilized the boats to also convey items from point A to point B and from point B to point C? Now, we need to factor in all these things. If all these things were not factored in weeks before the date of election, I mean, on the part of INEC, there were so many lapses. That's what I would say. If we also look at it from the avenue of taking care of your ad hoc staff, they need to feed on the job. This is almost a 12-hour job, and there's no how the work which they are doing can be mentally demanding. Why? Because they are dealing with figures here. So if a situation whereby you have to manually count or impute figures from these machines which are not even functioning properly, it can be brain tasking. So how well have these people been taken care of? That's another thing. We had reports where their ad hoc staff were not actually taken care of. So it doesn't just end with the gadgets alone, because we need human people. You need people to actually take care of these gadgets, because if there are no people to take care of these gadgets, the gadgets will be there redundant. It's like leaving a car in a particular spot for years and the tires begin to go down. There's wear and tear.
Yeah, definitely. So let's move on to the collation of the results. The result has been coming out, and just like Barrister said in the afternoon that there was low turnout. So even in the result, it's obvious that people really didn't go out to vote, and it's so obvious because they made it obvious that in Nigeria we only have APC and PDP contending with each other, because majority of the results that are out is that of APC and PDP alone. So in Irele local government, we have 177 for APC and PDP 49. And also let's talk about Akoko South East local government. APC had 106 and PDP 28. And okay, let's see. Okay, we also have some parts. Akure South. Akure is the capital of the state, and in Akure South, APC 18, PDP 14. It shows that people really didn't turn out, and with the result that we have here, well, we can't say a miracle can happen, but for now, it looks as though the APC is leading their election. So what can you say about it? Did you foresee this happening before?
Well, it's been a history of people actually knowing who is actually going to get power or take the day at the end of the day. Who is going to take the trophy at the end of the day? Why? Because number one, we should be looking at the personality of the candidates. What chances does this person actually have? We made mention of, we were discussing with a friend earlier on during the break, and we were talking about Aiyedatiwa and Jegede. These are influential figures in Ondo State, and one begins to wonder or ponder why they were not present for the elections, or why didn't they join the race for the elections? Could it be that they actually relegated themselves to the background? These are things we should also look at. Or were they also relegated to the background? Because I don't want to believe that with influential figures as they are, definitely there should be people who should back them up if there's some kind of financial handicap situation on ground. But I want to believe that Lucky by now has already made his statements known, riding on the wings of late governor of blessed memory, Aketi Akeredolu Rotimi. So, Agboola Ajayi, I would say, let me borrow the words of Barrister, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it's my own opinion. I tend to tilt to what he said. Political harlotry. Because political prostitution, when you come from one party to one party, I think maybe we should break away from this system of a multi-party system to a two-party system, whereby there are two dominant parties. Not that other parties are not relevant. They are relevant, but you have two major parties, and we know that, yes, it's either you are PDP or you are the APC. These are the two warring major parties which people recognize. And we know that, okay, this is where you are, and you actually represent a particular ideology. This
time, they would have been able to move the heart of people, and the reports of people not going to the polling unit wouldn't have been, because I know Aiyedatiwa Jegede from way back while I was still in Akure, he has made a name for himself. He's a well-known person, even though he didn't win the election, but then he's been able to win the heart of the people. And, looking at this election as it is now, he has the power to win the election. Even Olushola, okay, if these people should contest, they have the opportunity to win the election. And just like you say, I also wonder why they didn't contest, or why they didn't come out, why they stepped down for those people that later, contended for the position. But we can only hope that for them to have stepped down for those people, then there's something they might have seen, probably the potentials the people are not seeing, probably they saw it in them. But regardless, we know of something when it comes to political campaigns. Regardless of you seeing potential in someone also, the only way you can show it is by going for campaigns with them. But it wasn't recorded that Aiyedatiwa Jegede went for campaign with Agboola Ajayi.
No. So probably, I think maybe we should have one of our guests on the show. Sure. I think Barrister should be on call. Hello, Barrister. You're welcome back to the evening session.
Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon, Barrister. How are you doing, and how is the election climate over there in Ondo State this evening?
The whole stage is getting cool and getting better as they are winding up, and then they are announcing the result for polling unit and polling. In fact, they are moving towards the collation center now.
Okay. As the curtain draws closer, as the curtain closes for the Ondo State elections, what scorecard will you give the whole electoral exercise?
it will be too early to give scorecard now because we are moving towards the most important aspects where, from experience,
no, when I mean,
there are some magics that happens and you cannot explain. Until we skate through that hurdle, we can't give anybody pass mark yet. But on and on, to be frank, from what we have and the report we receive for some of other observers of ours, except some pocket of places like Idonri and some area in SLDO that has some pocket of violence and crisis, other area has been peaceful and it has been well conducted.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Ondo governorship election, Ajayi Agboola, who is one of the leading candidates in the election, has scored low in the conduct of the exercise. Looking at the result that has been coming out, is not been doing well. So regardless of the evident voter apathy, what specific change do you believe INEC could implement to restore public trust in the electoral process based on the concerns raised by Ajayi Agboola?
The only way INEC can restore confidence back to itself as an institution is by doing what is expected of it as an institution without giving any atom of opportunity for anybody to doubt their sincerity. The question one may be tempted to ask, why is it that other area things are going smoothly, the Beavers is working, and when you get to Agbo Center, which of course may be a strong hold, it takes minutes before one person can be accredited because the system is not really working as expected compared to some other area. You see, as Caesar's wife, you must try to live above board so that people will not have any reason to doubt. Even when you are making some error, people may pardon you because that's not your practice. But when you give room for people to doubt, of course, everybody is willing in the hands or tools as a doubting Thomas to doubt anybody. But you don't give people opportunity to have that mindset. But by and large, I don't blame INEC per se. Just like what I told you in the morning, INEC cannot force anybody to come and vote. And I keep on saying it. If indeed these votes are not really counting, the politician will not be after giving out money, buying votes. You can see what happened in, if you watch your channel a few hours ago, where they caught somebody with some money inside his boot. Yeah. If indeed these votes are not really counting, then the politician will not go after this idea of buying vote. The politician, instead of them do the right thing, you see them in garden drinking and whining or drinking beer, and they left their own primary duty to canvass, talk to people why they should vote for them. And when the result comes, everybody will be shouting and be crying wolf when there's no wolf at all.
Okay. With regards to historical precedents in Ondo State politics, voter apathy now seems to have been the major adjective here, because we had seen a low voter turnout. Now, expecting to hear or see prominent figures or influential figures such as Olushola Oke and Itayo Jegede, do you think they actually relegated themselves to the background, or would they have been relegated to the background? Because if their presence were actually there, the narrative would have changed because they are quite influential.
Well, I must give it to you. You are perfectly right. When you talk about politics in Ondo State, from my own information and what I've gathered, these two individuals you mentioned their names, they are really rooted in Ondo State politics. They know where to go, they know what to do at the right time, and they know what to say at the right time. But without sense of humility, without sounding any modest, these two major individuals who are aspiring, when I say major individuals, of course, Labour was just clear a few hours ago. I've been here today, so that one is out completely, technically. The two majors who are there, go and check their history per se. Of course, the one of PDP is still a bit better. We can still give it to him. But the one of APC, my brother, I challenge you. Tell me his political background in Ondo State. So he's so lucky. Let me just use his name for him. That they have the opportunity to take over from the late Akeredolu. And of course, you all know what state power can do.
Yes.
If somebody is nothing before, the moment you take that power, you can even overthrow God in Nigeria here. So I think that's what is playing out. This character with apology, they don't know much about Ondo State politics, so to say, compared to Olushola Oke and Aiyedatiwa Jegede. These are two gentlemen that knows the secret of Ondo State politics. And okay, if they are on the race today, the case will have been a different case.
Okay, in subsequent elections within Ondo State, do you see them joining the race?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me, Barrister?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, my question is, as a follow-up to that which you've just said, with the two influential figures, Aiyedatiwa and also Olushola Oke, do you see them joining the race in the next 4 years, since they refuse to join the race this period?
Well, it depends on the arrangement of ground, because they have what we call domestic arrangement within them with regard to this senatorial district. If it's coming from one particular senatorial district this time around, they move it to another. I think this is a gentleman arrangement between all the political parties, except Labour Party that changed the narrative now, because ordinarily all the candidates should come from the Ondo South as is, but I don't know what happened in Labour Party that they have to go and pick somebody from Akoko or what have you. So I don't know their equation now, how it moves, but if the current one is from a particular senatorial district, others who are coming next time will not be the same senatorial district. They have to go to another senatorial district. But of course, just like what I told you, wonders has ended in Nigeria. You can't tell again. Somebody can wake up and tell that is unconstitutional. Of course, they don't allow anybody to contest at any time, but it's a party internal affair. But anybody can challenge it and break it. I think it happened in PDP some times ago in the last election where they said they had to zone to Suru, but others said no. Everybody should go to the contest. So it's a constitutional matter that anybody can contest at any time, but they have their party internal arrangement. I don't know whether they will honor this time around, but that's left for them as a political party to decide.
All right, we can only hope that Aiyedatiwa Jegede and Olushola Oke stepped down for a good reason. Now, in Edo State, we heard of vote buying, and also you said while watching on our channel earlier, there was an issue of vote buying in Ondo State too during this election exercise. What strategies can the citizen of Ondo State or Nigeria in general, because this vote buying thing is not limited to Ondo State, there's been vote buying in Edo State, and we don't know what will happen in the next years to come. How do you think the people, or what strategies can be put in place in order for citizens of the country to resist the temptation of vote buying and ensure that their electoral choices are made freely and fairly, thereby safeguarding the integrity of the democratic process? Yes, we know that the government are weaponizing hunger, but then what do you think can be done in order to make sure that these people can resist temptation?
Well, from my own angle, once the foundation is faulty and is bad, I don't see the magic Julius Berger can adopt to put the house in order. Let's start from the primaries of some of these major political parties, both PDP and APC. Of course, I did not to inform you that during the PDP and APC, it was open to the glaring of everybody that the major leaders of this party, who are their flag bearer, whether the incumbent and those ones that lost that, got their ways into this office through vote buying at their primary level. Let's start it from there. You can't give what you don't have. If the head of a family is a robber politically, then you can also look at people that will surround him, and his subject will also go through that same line. To me, it's about mindset. Honestly speaking, today when I saw people selling their life because of 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 2,000, 3,000, and you see people try to educate them, and the way they shut them out, that get away, what do you mean? Now go and vote and collect your money. What are you talking there? I begin to wonder, as if there's no hope anymore anywhere. And sad enough, most of the people who are involved, with apology, without sounding rude, they are not even tomato seller. They are educated individuals that should at least a bit step up their game and say, no, we don't do this, let me do this. So when the educated mind is behaving less than itself, how do we start learning? I was reading one article some time ago. It's like when you are teaching the unteachable. When people that are supposed to understand simple things, they are the one now being involved in such a thing. That becomes a serious problem. And to me, I have tried, because I've involved in a lot of programs where we educate some of these voters, we discuss, and we try our best. And we discover at the end of the day, this individual, you see them still perpetrating the same evil. I think we must go whether spiritual this time around. Honestly, I'm short of words on what to do, honestly speaking.
Okay. Okay, on a spiritual note, I think we'll approach it from the mental point of view. Why? Because majority of us here will actually require a mental emancipation, and it will be a very, very thorough and rigid one, if you will agree. Ondo State actually is majorly an upland and riverine area. Of course, being a riverine area, they make use of boats, speedboats, or jetties. Now, the jetty is a vital transit point for people traveling from the upland to the riverine areas within Ondo State. But news making the rounds has it that residents of Agboola in the Ajayi local government area turned the bustling jetty into a trading hub on election day. Now, while potential voters boarded boats en route to their communities and polling units, traders actually seized the opportunity to engage in brisk businesses. Now, how does the transformation of the jetty within the local government area into a trading hub on election day reflect the interplay between commerce and civic engagement in local community? How does this fusion come into play?
If indeed we have a responsible government in place, in those days, some of this riverine area, we have what we call government-owned jetty that are very cheap compared to private owners jetty that convey people naturally through and through wherever you are going. We have Owena, I can't get the full name again, Owena boats, Owena jetty and the rest in those days. If really we have a responsible government in place without apology, are we making progress? These are past governments that are doing this then. Now that we are in a modern world, can't we build on this capacity than for us to be relying on private individual? What are you blaming the private individual who know what they suffer to get fuel to fly? I mean to operate their boat and jetty. If we have responsible government in place, why can't government make provision for such means of transportation so that even once in this election period, so that people will have access to vote? But they will not do that. All what they're interested is about themselves, how they can get the latest jeep, and so you don't blame anybody. Everybody takes advantage of any situation to better his lot. And when you look at the whole situation, you discover that even the man that you say is making money through this jet and the rest, there's no money coming to his whatever, because at the end of the day, he's going to settle some individual, because there should be no room for movement. There's no room for, mark my word, ordinarily there's no free movement. So the moment they allow a private person to be doing that business, it must have gotten a hint or permission from certain security agency who he has to settle. Because in the city of Korea here, except you are an observer or party agent or what have you, with your identity card, you cannot move. So how do you have access to jetty, conveying people and charging people, if not because some security agency are giving them approval and they have collected money from them to do that business? So it's neither here nor there. They know what they are doing, my brother. It's a very dirty situation we find ourselves in Nigeria, that people that are supposed not to be in the helms of affair, they are not the one leading us. So pathetic, my brother.
All right, Barrister, moving on from the situation of things when it comes to transit, let's talk about the media. We know when it comes to creating awareness, the media plays a major role, either the conventional media, which is the TV and the radio, or the social media. So, but I would like to ask you, what role do you believe conventional media and social media have played in shaping public opinion during the 2024 election campaign in Ondo State? Because talking about the social media seems to be so dry right now. We've not been hearing anything in regard to Ondo State election.
You also agree with that the social media of thing we are talking about also is divided along political party. APC have his own media, PDP has his own media, Labour, everybody. So it's no longer the independent media that we used to have then, except few who don't really have any stake in Ondo State, except few. And when I say few, I mean few. They are the ones doing some independent analysis. When you see some media today praising one candidate to high heaven, you see another media who knew that what he's saying is wrong, who even discussed it before going to that studio, that knew that what he's saying is wrong. You see him also say different things. Let me also shock you. Are you also aware that this NGO that are covering everywhere now, they are 80% are agent of some of these political parties? So the whole system is scaring, and one begin to wonder whether we are in a sane society or something is wrong somewhere that we don't understand. So the whole thing is on the side of who you are supporting. So nobody is ready for any independent work anymore. You blow the paper, the date tone on what you hear on social media.
Right. So if I'm getting you right, Barrister, it therefore means the highest bidder in the media world owns the space on letting the propaganda fly.
You are absolutely right, sir. Okay. And you also know what I'm talking about.
Okay. Away from the media aspect, the media also is involved in creating awareness and also disseminating information. Now, what challenges do you think the first-time voters out there in Ondo State must have faced during this election exercise? Because awareness, I want to believe, must have been made, and first-time voters will actually behave like people who are actually holding a steering for a vehicle for the first time. Was awareness actually done to make sure that first-time voters were duly informed regarding this whole exercise?
The question I should ask, in a bit to answer your question, awareness from who, from where? You see, my brother, honestly, at times one would talk with pain, because as a nation we ought to have gone above this level. Let's even assume that INEC has failed woefully from disseminating some of this information. In those days, a political party owed itself a duty, because they are the one that will suffer the inactive or activeness of INEC in whichever way. They are the one that will tell Mr. A that, look, the polling unit here has been divided into two. So those of you who are in social area, you have now been moved to social area, because they are the one whose interest, when I say interest, is at stake. But that one is not happening anymore. It's no more. But when you look at the issue of newcomers too, when you put somebody who's registered close to his house, and then because of creating another whatever, you took him to a very distance. Somebody who's managed to eat his breakfast, you wanted to trek from a very long distance under the sun. That's another form of discouragement. And that's why some of the people, of course, there's a social state. Under the discussion, people just think they are that instead of them wasting their time trekking from this far distance, it's better they get it off. So I'm sure some of these new ones also suffer that, because when you see them, when they get to a particular place, you say, no, you are not supposed to hear. Go to so place. Out of annoyance, you hear them saying that go to so place. I will trek from here to that place. Let me go back to my house. And that's what we witness today. Some of these putting in from some of these newcomers who are coming in.
On a conclusive note, in what ways do you think the outcome of the Ondo State governorship election will affect the overall governance and development of the state?
Generally in Nigeria now, we lived our own work. What we're supposed to do as human beings, that we are failed. I said that we know that we are failed. We now put in the hands of God. Everything now is in God's hand. Well, we pray that God, let me come back to that method. We pray that God will intervene and give them the opportunity, and give them the power, or is it to force them to do what is right for the people of Ondo State? Because whether we like it or not, Ondo State is one of the richest states in Nigeria. They have access to oil, they have bitumen, they have virtually every natural resources. But what do they use them for? It's just after everybody will come and campaign on the issue of bitumen, on the issue of this, and when they get to that office, that's the end of the story. We pray and we are hopeful, and indeed we are hoping that at least they should try and do something meaningful for the people of Ondo State this time around. That's our prayer.
Okay, there were reports actually that gunshots by unknown persons at Ofosun village, an Ondo community in the boundary between Edo State and Ondo State. Now, the incident typically caused panic, forcing people to stay indoors and avoiding being hit by stray bullets. In light of allegations of violence and intimidation, what would you say regarding the terrain? Is it actually safe?
Well, it's not only in Ofosu. That's the boundary between Ondo and Ondo and Edo State.
Yes.
Even in Dori and some area in SLDO, we had similar information from some of our servers there that you see most of these things have been done by some individual who discovered that place may have a stronghold of a particular opponent. So the best is for them to go and scare people from their own strategy, which is very, very abnormal and not in the best interest of anybody in the current dispensation we find ourselves.
Okay, thank you very much, Barrister. It has been a pleasure for you joining us in both sessions. I want to believe now, or we should hear from you subsequently in the future regarding the outcome of these elections, as the collation and the announcement of results will take place in a few hours' time.
Yeah, we are waiting for them at the collation center now so that we'll get the outcome of the result. Then from there, we take it up and then we'll find ourselves back to our own destination too.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Barrister, for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Well, what do you feel or think about Barrister's opinion regarding the close-up or roundup regarding the elections?
Okay, like we also seen online, we could see that people really didn't turn out. And also talking about the social media has been dry. We know Twitter to be the platform for banters.
Really buzzing.
Yeah, but then everything seems to be so down, like you would not even know there's something going on in the country as of this moment. Looks as though Ondo election is irrelevant. I'm sorry in case I say it wrongly, but I just hope that they understand that, because during Edo election, everywhere was hot. We could see things going on. People were talking about the election, but then there's been little or nothing to say about the Ondo State election. And then, you know, talking about the vote buying and everything that has been going on over there. Ondo State, which seems to be one of the peaceful states, like Professor said in the morning, seems to not be that peaceful as we thought as of this moment.
Well, maybe we should also look at it by the nature of the candidates. Remember, I asked the barrister concerning two peculiar candidates who actually tend to stand a chance regarding influencing or making decisions in elections. And he made a particular key phrase. He said, they know where to go. They know how to go about it. And being that they know where to go, definitely they must be influential.
Yeah, looking at Aiyedatiwa Jegede, I think for Aiyedatiwa Jegede, he said he wants peace to reign in the political party, and that is why he stepped down. And as for Olushola Oke, he said he's supporting, allegedly, he's supporting the incumbent governor and he wants him to win. And that is why I'm saying probably there's a reason we're not seeing, and probably there's a potential they saw in this political candidates and why they're supporting them. But regardless, when you support people, you come out for them, you show your allegiance to them. And because these people have gained grounds when it comes to politics in Ondo State, if they had come out with them during the campaign, I feel like this issue of people not coming out during the election would not have been, because people, or they already walked their way into the heart of the people, they already won their way into the heart of the people, and because of that, people want to come out, not because of this person, but because of Aiyedatiwa Jegede. I want to vote because of him, because the fact that he supported this candidate means that this person is good, because they've created an image for themselves when it comes to Ondo election. So we can only wonder what is really going on behind closed doors.
Okay. The show is still Viewpoints, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue. Hopefully, we should be getting briefly across to Barrister Catherine Ogunjebi. Join us shortly.
Hello, beautiful people. Hi, I'm Babatunde, your host for Vigilant Podcast. Vigilance is derived from the word vigilant, which means to keep a keen eye and sharp mind on situations around you. And that is exactly what we do on Vigilant Podcast.
Ouch! Remind me of how we spill the truth on Vigilant Podcast. Trust us, we don't leave any truth unspilled.
Vigilance is not just a podcast, but it is a medium to discuss everything Nigeria, ranging from politics to economic trends and public opinion.
To listen to us, go to Spotify, click on the search bar and type in Vigilant, and there we are good to go.
Put together every economic and business decision made by the local, state, and federal government, and even the private sector, can affect how you spend, how you save, and how you invest, and eventually your personal economy. My name is Awe, and I invite you to join me on Market Square every Friday, where I share with you business and economic updates so that you know the implication of what is happening around you and you can plan with regards to your personal economy. Follow Vigil Media on YouTube and all our social media platforms. I look forward to your company on the show. See you soon.
Hello?
Okay, you're welcome back to the show. The show is Viewpoints, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue. Hello, Barrister.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, Madam Catherine.
Oh, good evening.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
I'm just departing my polling unit, and the network is not very strong.
Okay, just a quick one, a brief one, before we let you go. We know it's been a busy day for you. So far, so good. Could you give us quickly how the election has actually been in Ondo State?
Well, speaking from the angle of my polling unit, I would say it's been peaceful at my local government. That's federal local government.
Okay.
Yes, it's been peaceful, though we had one or two issues. But generally, the election process started quite early, started to time.
Okay.
And then there were reports of vote buying from the hands of the APC and the PDP. There were also a few crisis spots. Okay. Then looking at the overall reports that have been coming in, there were some areas that were quite chaotic.
Okay.
But by and large, well, I'm just departing the collation center for Ijare Ward 2 in a federal local government. And the collation went smoothly. Election there went smoothly. And results have been collated for onward movement to the local government.
Okay. When it comes to
I would say it's better we await the general results before we
jump to
have
conclusions.
any comment.
Okay, I have Olaitan Babatunde with me.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Yes, ma. Okay, so in regards to the turnouts, there's been reports that there was low turnout during this election. But then one thing that we know is when it comes to support and management, I said that this morning, women does that the best. And when it comes to politics too, women are majorly the set of people that comes out to vote. What can you say about the women participation in Ondo election today?
Well, I would say that women participation in Ondo election today is a great one. It's better than before at the local government where I work. We had more women come out to vote. In fact, voters came out earlier than scheduled for the voting. However, this may not be the case in other local governments, as I noted earlier, because we always have differences in different with the various locations. You understand? Then for the officials of the election, we had, I would say, adequate gender balancing at all the polling units. So as much as we had male officers at the polling units, we also have the female officials. And in some polling units, we even had more females than the males. Women came out to vote, and they formed a large part of the voters at the local government.
All right.
All right, well, thank you very much for making our time. We know it's been a busy one for you, but hopefully after the elections, when the results are actually announced in a few or couple of hours' time, we want to believe that you will make our time to come on board, at least to air your views and opinions in due time.
It is. Oh, definitely try.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
It's been a long day in Ondo State today. The future of Ondo State hangs in the balance as the election day comes to an end. May the people awaken to the call of duty, for their voices matter and their voices have the power to shape a brighter future.
The show has been Viewpoints, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue. Thanks for staying with us during the live session. I'm Ondo AI.
And I'm Olaitan Babatunde. Thanks for keeping up with us for the live session for the Ondo State election. See you on the next one. Will be next year.